Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 13 of the Athletes Project. I'm Davis Plifka, alongside my co-host Tanner Zolnowski. Tanner, how you doing?
Oh, fantastic. I am so pumped to be back. It's going to be a great episode, great guest. Man, I'm pumped.
Yeah, we took a little break. Football, hockey got in the way, but here we are back in the beautiful facility of Pulltab Sports. So just want to thank them for having us and welcoming with opening arms.
It's a great facility, great place. Yeah, I really appreciate it, Pulltab.
Yeah, so we're back. We got a great guest today, so let's not wait any longer and get right into him. So now joining us is the Alabama football and baseball commit, number one rated player in the state of Minnesota at his graduation year, which is 2025. 2023 Baseball Metro Player of the Year last year. So without further ado, welcome Luke Ryerse. Luke, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you, boys. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to Pulltab. This is a great opportunity.
Yeah, it's good to have you. So let's jump right into it right now. Baseball season's going on. Talk to us about the Eastridge Raptors defending state champs.
Yeah, got about 10 games through right now, and just about the halfway point. We're doing pretty well. We're kind of still going through our identity as a team and have to go through some adversity to get to where we want to be, but a very strong team, a lot of talent, great camaraderie and chemistry throughout the entire team, and team's looking great. I think we're gonna do well going forward.
Is there a lot of expectation? I mean, like Davis said, state champions last year. Is the goal to go back-to-back, or?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's win as many games as possible, get to the state tournament, win the state tournament. Like the expectations that other people put on us are quite high, but I think that we understand those and we kind of take those to heart, and we don't let it get our hopes too high or our egos too high. We use it quite well and use it as motivation. But yeah, the goal is to win the state tournament and really just focusing on the next game and game after that. So yeah.
Perfect. Let's go back into, the younger Luke Ryerse, just starting to get into football and baseball, have some older brothers. But just talk a little bit about how you got into these sports, what made you fall in love with these two specifically.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I've been playing both sports since as long as I can remember. Both my brothers played baseball growing up, and my oldest brother, Grant, played football as well, and Adam, he played tennis and baseball, things like that. But yeah, my brothers influenced me a lot. They were much older than me, but I think that was the beauty of it is they were wise and older than me, so they could kind of give me guidance throughout my younger years, and they helped me kind of enjoy baseball and football as much as I could, and they made it fun for me. They beat me up a little bit, and I think that made me a better person overall. But my oldest brother, Grant, he had a big impact on my football career, being a kicker himself, and went through a lot of the same things that I did. And then my middle brother, Adam, he was also huge in me growing as a person and in sports as well, with just being able to interact with him every day, and him becoming a very good friend of mine, and not just fighting every day like brothers do. We're best
hanging
friends
out.
now.
Yeah, hanging
exactly.
out. How does it feel to kind of follow in Grant's footsteps in terms of being that top Eastridge kicker, and being another Division I kicker out of Eastridge, and we grew up watching the Raptors on Friday night lights as kids. How's it feel to now be in that situation and kind of following your brother's footsteps?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's something that I look forward to my entire life. Watching him growing up, he was a big role model in football for me. And once I kind of got to this stage of being able to play, I'd kind of grown out of kind of being in the stardom of him, and I was kind of focused on kind of being myself, and he was there for me. And it's a lot of fun, and it's great to be able to come out on Friday nights and be Luke Ryerse, not Grant's little brother, which is great. And I think he helped me along that way too. And he's been assistant special teams coach my whole high school career, which has been amazing having him on the sidelines. And yeah.
Shout out Grant. He's my good luck charm, man.
So how did Grant get into kicking? Because I assume that's why you're kicking, but there's not too many kids that are like, I want to be a kicker. Except me. I was the little kid in 3rd grade. But it was because of Grant Ryerse, actually. I would go to these games and like, well, if that dude can kick at 50 yards, I might as well do it, but I can't.
Can't do it. Can't do it, though.
Not that easy. So
No.
what made Grant get into kicking?
Yeah, it was my dad. He kicked in high school and college, and he kind of got my older brother into it, and I think that helped a ton with my dad kind of having some of those experiences, and he played at a high level. He was a great kicker and understood the game a lot, and tried professionally, and I think that that persuaded my brother a little bit into getting into kicking, and then my brother got me into it because I looked up to him just like I do Grant and Adam, or both my oldest brothers. I look up to him, and he influenced me a lot with that, getting into kicking, yeah.
How is your relationship in terms of him as a coach? Because obviously I assume he tries to help and coach you. Are you kind of like, Dad, leave me alone, I'll just listen to my actual coaches, or do you kind of take his advice, and does that help you out at all?
Yeah, I love it. Love him and love how he's kind of morphed into almost say like my caddy a little bit. He understands a lot about the game already, and then through other coaches that I meet and work with, and my oldest brother, he learns and he's the guy who's there every time I kick. Like, I've kicked thousands of times in my life, and he's been there for like 90% of those, and he understands how to get me back into my groove if I'm struggling. He understands how to get me out of ruts, and it's great having him there because he's a huge help. Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to the Ryeres family just because
the best,
good people,
the best.
We were having dinner one time at my house, and I think we were talking. This is when Luke kind of just committed, and my dad, he just goes, Ryeres family, just a great family. Mac and Mary did a great job with the 3 boys, but yeah, so I want to give a little shout out to them. And I also want the invite. I heard about this punt pass kick challenge at Easter with the peep.
Yeah, that's
Wait, what's going on?
I have
What's going on?
No clue how you heard about that. That's some Nardy War stuff, but
I was talking to your dad. He told me all about it.
Yeah, at Easter we always take the peeps, like the Easter candies, and we do a punt pass and peep challenge, we call it. So obviously you punt it, then you throw it, and then you get to choose if you want to punt it or throw it again.
Oh, man.
We've done that for...
Let's get going, Dave.
We've done that since as long as I can remember, once again. Yeah, that's a very surprising.
Some outdoor stuff, bro. Yeah. That's awesome.
So do you have a favorite sport? Have you kind of gone back and forth on if you have a favorite sport, or is it kind of one of those deals where, I like them so much that it's kind of just wherever I'm going to play and get after it?
Yeah, I love them both equally, and I think it's not about me loving them equally. It's more about them being kind of 2 of the same processes, and I kind of treat it as one thing. Like it's not 2 different sports. It's just like one lifestyle kind of for me. And I don't have a favorite sport. I'd say I think I focus a little bit more on some depending on the season, but it's never been a favorite or another. I mean, I've had, when I was much younger, I'd say football a little bit, but now for the past couple of years, it's been equal. Yeah.
Was that always your goal to play 2 sports in college, or is that kind of just arise, the older you've gotten?
Yeah, that's something somewhat new, I'd say. I think freshman year, right about New Year's, I made a goal that I want to at least have the opportunity to play both sports in college. And initially I was looking football, kind of follow a little bit my brother's and dad's footsteps with playing football in college. But then I also understood that I had a chance to make it in baseball as well if I wanted to, and I just wanted to have that opportunity. But it's been probably 2.5 years that I've been really, really focused on making both, yeah.
So even as a young kid, every kid, you ask a 5th grader, hey, do you want to play college sports? Probably 90% are going to say yeah. But kind of when Grant committed to Minnesota, did that maybe raise an expectation for you? I just want to play college sports.
Yeah, I think it raised an expectation a little bit, not inside my family at all. I think my parents were very, very good about, they wanted me to pursue whatever I wanted to pursue. My dad, mom, both my brothers did not expect me to commit to play a Division I sport at all. They were there to support whatever dreams I had, and it raised expectations with me, though. I'd say that pushed me a little bit harder. I focused on it more, and I wanted to follow in those footsteps and have the same opportunities.
Well, that's a very important thing to not have that kind of expectation and to have your parents kind of, you do you, Luke, you do what you love. And like we talked about, that's why the Ryeres are so good. But talking about, Alabama and how historic that program is, how did it feel, when you finally pulled the trigger and committed?
It was a great feeling. It was kind of a feeling of relief as well with finding that school. And I've said this before on a different podcast, but I called it kind of like a unicorn school. My parents and I had said that for a couple of years. Is if you find a school that is going to let you do both and that you're going to be truly happy at, it's going to be very unique and things like that. And the recruiting process is very tough and long and very hard. My parents were there for me the entire way. It was very hard, but it felt amazing kind of being able to finally find that school. And when I took my visit in November, I knew it right when I stepped on campus, and it was a sigh of relief at a point. Yeah, there had been some tough things that I had to go through with. Some schools don't want you to play both. They don't support it, don't want to recruit you because of that. So it was great finding a school that prestigious that was able to let me do that.
What were some of the things that you were looking for in schools, that maybe it was, I don't know, big campus, small campus, just want to play two sports? What was it?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was not only letting me play both sports, but being supportive of it and having examples of other players that have done it or will do it. That was the first thing that I looked for. Academics are a huge part of it. I'm going to try to major in entrepreneurship, and Alabama has a great program with that. Academics were huge, and then after that it was finding coaches that I truly bonded with in baseball and football, which I found at Alabama. There are some schools, like a Big Ten school, that I connected with all four of the baseball coaches really well, but the special teams coach and some of the other coaches I didn't connect with very well, which is fine. But finding the balance of they're not only your coaches and everything, but they're also your friends, and they're there for you, and they're there to support you and get you to the next level and help them win some championships.
Oh, for sure. And obviously, when you committed, I believe Nick Saban was still the head coach.
Correct.
Him, obviously retiring, did that affect you at all? What did you think of that? And are you excited about Coach Kellen DeBoer coming in?
Yeah, first off, very excited about that. No, it didn't really change my perspective on things. I was confused for a little bit just there was limited communication because there was a 2-day gap between Saban leaving and DeBoer getting hired. And then even after that, it took a couple weeks, maybe even a couple months of them figuring out who were going to be the assistant coaches, special teams coordinator, and found that out in mid-February. And that made it a lot easier once I was able to have the contact with those guys. But no, there wasn't really any doubt. And now that I know the special teams coordinator, actually he recruited my brother at University of Minnesota.
That's
which
awesome.
is kind of cool, full circle moment. And it's been great.
Did they clean house? Is it a whole new coaching staff from Saban, or did they keep some guys?
Yes, I believe that there are a couple guys left. I don't know specifically because,
but mostly they.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what they call him now, but essentially the recruiting coordinator is what he was called under Saban's staff. He's still there.
Okay.
But there are a couple guys, but mostly a new staff. That's what all college programs
what happens,
really do. Yeah.
So there's a different special teams guy that recruited you?
Correct. Yeah. So it was Coleman Hutzler was his name. He's at Mississippi State now, and he left with when Saban left as well, and now it's a new special teams coordinator.
How was it building a new relationship with a new coach, was that kind of hard, or did that coach kind of help you out with that and let you know that, you were recruited by another guy, but I'm still very excited about you and I'm very happy that you're still committed?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helped that we had a little bit of a previous relationship with him. My family, like he'd been to my house before. I knew him quite well. I even had some pictures of me with him when I was 5 or 6,
awesome.
about 7 or 8, running around when Grant was on recruiting visits with him. But yeah, I had a little bit of a relationship with him, and he's a great guy, and was able to kind of connect with him right away. And I remember our first phone call together, him kind of talking me through the process of everything that happened. And it was to the point where we were comfortable enough with each other on the first call. We were talking about special team schemes and what they do and how he runs his practices, things like that. Yeah.
What was the recruiting process like with the two sports? Was there, in baseball and football, like totally different,
Way different
recruiting processes? Like, your football coaches hop on their private jet, they're going to come see you play. Baseball coaches, 13-hour road trip, I'm coming up to watch you play a club tournament. So were you talking to baseball more? Was it football more? Was it kind of balanced? And I suppose that the baseball and football coaches had to kind of communicate to each other too to kind of allow you to play both sports.
Yeah, very huge difference in the recruiting processes. Also with some rule changes that happened, kind of benefited me a little bit with that. But yeah, baseball is much different. I met those coaches in March of 2023. They were at Maryland, and they were in Minnesota for a tournament in early March at US Bank Stadium, and them and a couple other schools came and watched me pitch in our facility, and started building my relationship with them while they're at Maryland. They had a very successful year, made the tournament, and then season ended. They left and went to Alabama, and during that time there was a recruiting shutdown, and they followed me throughout the spring and summer, watched me a couple times in high school ball, a couple times in summer ball. And then August 1st, which was the first day that rolled around, they were the first school to contact me at like 12:05 a.m. or something like that. Kind of funny. Yeah, so that was kind of how I got connected to the baseball coaches. And then when I was on my visit with them, they connected me with the football coaches, and our relationship rapidly grew there. And they had a big part in contacting the football coaches on behalf of me as well, and facilitating a relationship, things like that, which they were great with.
Have you gotten any information about what your schedule is going to look like, this in 2 years when you go to Alabama, in terms of being a two-sport athlete? I imagine it's got to be an unbelievable grind. You're probably going to have to do 2 sports in a week at some point, or how's that going to look?
Yeah, that's a great question. Something I've talked to them about some, and one of the biggest parts of it is making sure that I'm able to actually do those 2 sports and fit it in my schedule, and also be able to go to class and be a college kid. But yeah, it's something we've talked about a ton. Yeah, like in the fall, what it'll look like is obviously have those practices Monday or Sunday through Thursday, whatever it is, Sunday through Friday. And then at night, go and throw with the pitching coach, Jason Jackson. And there's going to be another, a 2024 Mari Jefferson from Tennessee. He's coming in to play both sports as well.
Oh,
so
wow.
Kind of have a little bit of a relationship, build that up with him. But kind of have a balance of, obviously, if it's spring, baseball's first. If it's fall, football's first. And then still taking care of the jobs you need to do and make sure you're getting better. Yeah.
So how does that work for you right now? I suppose it's kind of the same thing, fall football, spring baseball, but, you still find ways and times to kind of get after it. When you're in football season, you've done some baseball. When you're in football, you've done some, or when you're in baseball, you've done some football. So how do you kind of, do off-season work with both sports and continue to be at such a high level in both of them?
Yeah. Spring and summer, it's focused on baseball a ton. And then also I'm getting in three sessions a week with kicking, which is tough. Like in the spring, we have school and everything, and you have school all through the day, and then you have practice from 3 to 7 or whatever, games, things like that. So I sneak in kicking usually in the morning, like at 7 a.m. or at night, try to find a field. And then the fall, obviously football practice like that. Tanner saw me last year. I'd always, right after the final final whistle of practice, I'd run up to my car and drive up to Blaine, 40 minutes away, and get in my baseball stuff for the day. And then in the winter, it's great because I have 5 days a week where I'm not playing another sport, or I'm not playing either sport, so I'm able to focus on both at once and kind of split my days and be very focused, be able to travel and things like that. Yeah.
How important is finding a good baseball facility? Because I know a big thing is club baseball. Talk to us about the facility you work at and how that has kind of helped you grow into a great baseball player.
Yeah. So I train at Minnesota Iceman. That's the club team I've played for since I was 11 or 12 years old, and it's up in Blaine. Great people. Shout out Gogo and Sut and Brad and all those guys. They've helped me a ton. But yeah, great facility up there. Train there all through the winter and things like that. It's definitely very important, especially in Minnesota. We're not able to be outside in the winter, and it's great having those guys to go to. They're professionals. They're very smart people. They know ball, as we say.
They know ball.
Yeah, they're great people to be around. So yeah.
What do you kind of focus? So I suppose like December, January is your really true off season for both sports. Is that where you take a break, get your mind off things, or is that where you have the perfect balance of both sports?
Yeah, honestly, this past December and January for me was the busiest time. That's kind of when I'm doing both at the highest level. I'm like in December, I was training for a football camp that I did in early January in Vegas, and I was training for baseball 5 days a week and kind of ramping up into the season. So those are kind of my busy times. And then right after that camp in January, I took a 6-week break from football like I do every year, let my body rest and recover and kind of get my mind off it a little bit just to be able to refocus. And it's very healthy to have that break. But I think that's kind of my busiest time of the year, yeah.
Is there anything with kicking and pitching that kind of, help each other in terms, like, there's a lot of things and obviously as a pitcher and a quarterback can help, both sports out. Is there anything being a kicker, punter, that helps you with baseball or vice versa?
Yeah, definitely a ton. On the physical side of it, the lifts and everything are a lot alike, a lot of the same things.
A lot of mobility and stuff.
Mobility, explosiveness, single leg strength, things like that. And then the mental side of it, it's a lot of the same. It's you versus you, kind of like golf, which is also why I love golf as a hobby. Is it's you versus you, kind of simulate those things. But the kind of sociology and like mental side of it is a lot the same, which I think benefits me a lot. And I understand how to go through a process of, hey, things aren't working, not doing very well. I'm going to assess the problem. What's the solution? How do I get to the solution? And that process is huge. It's helped me a lot, benefited both sides.
What does so you're coming up on your senior year. What are kind of the upcoming goals for you?
Yeah, for my senior year, love to win state in both sports, but I want to be able to help my team out in both sports as much as I can. And being a punter and kicker in football, obviously my role is a little bit limited, but be able to help my team out, be a leader, be a captain, try to be as good of a captain as Tanner Zolnowski. And what I've heard of Davis is a hockey captain as well. I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot about it. But yeah, be able to benefit my team. Love to win state, and love to be drafted out of high school for baseball. But I know that Alabama is a great option for me, and kind of have both of those there and have something to grind towards, and yeah, just be a better person overall. Yep.
How does getting drafted out of high school work? Do you go straight into lower level baseball affiliated with the team, or do you go to college? Because I actually don't know really how that works.
Yeah, it's kind of weird process, but there are a couple windows for when you're able to be drafted. And the first one is out of high school. So if you're drafted out of high school, you can either sign or not sign. You have the option to do either. And if let's say you sign, you'd go to the whatever team you're you get drafted by, and usually guys will start in the complex leagues in either Florida, Arizona, wherever their team is kind of located for spring training, and they'll work in those complex leagues for the half of the year that they're there. And then the next year they'll hopefully move to low A, so A-, then A+, and then double A, and then triple A in the majors. That's usually how it goes for those guys out of high school. If they don't get drafted out of high school or don't sign out of high school, they go to college, and you're either eligible after your third year out of college, or if you're 21 by the draft, and then any time after that. But if you go JUCO, you're able to be drafted any year. So it's a really, really weird process, which I'm not able to explain very well. But yeah,
it's complicated.
So say you get drafted out of high school, you don't sign. That team doesn't have your rights anymore, correct?
Correct. Yeah,
so are they just wasting a pick?
Technically.
Correct. Yeah, technically.
Okay.
Yeah, or they'll call it like a draft and follow, which is common because there are 20 rounds and there used to be 40.
Crazy.
Right.
So they draft you, and they'll still offer you the money, and they'll say, we're going to follow you very closely over the next couple years, and we want to draft you again possibly. But yeah, they don't have the rights to you like they do in hockey.
Right.
But yeah, essentially how it goes.
So then you take so you go 3 years without being able to get drafted?
Correct.
Like you're ineligible to get drafted?
Yep.
Just because.
Interesting.
That's weird. I didn't know that.
Very interesting. Is there a lot of guys who, it's probably not a lot, but is there guys who will get drafted out of high school and then play in the big show? Has that happened
Straight
recently?
out of high school?
Yeah.
You're talking straight into the MLB?
Yeah.
It's happened. I don't think it's happened in the past 50, 60 years.
Oh, really?
Since there's been a draft where they go straight to the majors. Like Joe Mauer, he spent, I want to say 20 games in AAA and then went straight to the majors. That was the quickest one. He was playing for Cretin in May, got drafted, and was playing for the Twins by September. That was the quickest one in recent history. Jackson Holiday too.
I was just gonna say, I feel like I've seen him.
He made it in a year and a half, just under 2 years.
And these guys obviously they signed with the team and then did that process where they kind of came from low A, all the way up and just.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Long process.
I mean, I feel like if you get drafted as an 18-year-old, I don't know what's the money looking like. Do you know what the?
It varies a lot based on the round and kind of your slot value. But I know Noblemeyer, who's the first high school righty selected out of the draft last year, his signing bonus was $5 million. That's not including his contract. He's first round, 10th overall.
So he's straight out of high school.
Yeah, correct. And then the lowest drafted and signed guy out of high school last year as a righty was $150,000 signing bonus plus whatever contract they work out. So
I'll take it.
Yeah, there's not many 18-year-olds that are gonna pass up on that.
Yeah, bro, that's nuts.
I mean, because Max Clark was a Vanderbilt commit.
Yeah, they're passing up a lot of NIL, things like that.
Yeah.
It's a meticulous process with you have to kind of set your number of how much money are you going to get that you have to reject college.
Did he get drafted?
Yeah,
Clark.
Yeah, he was. I don't remember.
Is he's going to Vanderbilt?
No, he signed.
Okay.
He was the third overall pick, I believe.
Fourth.
Fourth. I think it was third. He was right after Cruz.
He's the baseball guy, man.
Maybe I don't know. I don't remember specifically, but he signed for $6 million, things like that. But yeah, those guys are passing.
Well, because Skeens and Cruz were both $10 million.
Yeah,
that was the most ever.
Wow. Those both set records.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
All right, final kind of wrap up here. This is kind of your chance to take it away. What's your advice? All the stuff you've seen so far, both sports, committed to a SEC school. You're talking to maybe a younger self of you, or just some little Raptors that are looking up to Luke Ryerse on how to get better, how to get at a high level. Maybe there's kids that want to play two sports. What's your advice?
Yeah, I'd say be a kid is the first thing. Be able to enjoy the process and not put too much pressure on yourself. That's something I did was when I was in 6th grade. I put a lot of pressure on myself to be like my brother, try to be a Division I athlete when you're only 12 years old. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Be a kid, have fun with it, and it's going to end up working out either way. God has a plan for you, and if you're going to work your hardest at it and also be a kid, you're going to have a lot of fun with the process, and If you want to play 2 sports, it's great. It's a tough process for sure, but it's not impossible. I was told that it was impossible to even commit for 2 sports, and here I am. And yeah, just be a kid with it, have fun, and chase your dreams. Yeah.
What's kind of your like escape from reality right now? What would you say that gets you away from the sports? Because you grind both sports. What do you kind of
so
get your mind off
I'm kind of trying to get into some new hobbies, but I mean, I golf as well. Try to stay a little bit away from that during baseball season. Just don't mess up the batting swing. But golf, I play 2K23 golf, the PGA Tour, so a lot of golf. Play some cards with the boys. Spend time with friends, things like that. But I'm trying to come up with some hobby. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know.
You're a big poker player now, aren't you?
Yeah, actually, Davis Plifka was the one who introduced me to poker. So, yeah.
Hopefully, gave you some tricks, but I don't know. We'll have to get a little poker game going soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Tanner, you got anything else?
No, I think I'm good. I just, like Luke said at the start, this is a great opportunity. Again, want to thank Pulltab. Want to thank Luke for coming in. Obviously, Davis and I, super close to you. It's been, man, I was so happy to see when you committed. I'm so proud of you. It just made my day. And, man, yeah, I really appreciate it, bro. This is, we're back. The boys are back. I'm happy.
We are. We were able to crank one out, so hopefully let's keep this going.
Keep it going.
Yeah, thanks again to Luke Ryerse for coming on. Keep an eye out for him. Going to be excited to follow along his path and see where he goes. But, yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks to Pulltab, and we're out.
Yeah, thank you, boys. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Tanner. Thank you, Davis. Thank you, Pulltab. Really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
All right, see you guys.
Deuces.